It was the only game in town as far as I was concerned at that time. That was the best thing I could hope for in those days. I really didn't make any decision because I had no intention of going to work. My husband didn't want me to go to work in those days. I had 2 years of undergraduate work to do when I came, and then I entered the law school. Went to law school with 2 children and a husband who didn't want me to go. He didn't mind the education, but it was just that he was so sure I would go to work if I got the education. A friend of mine called me and told me she was getting a divorce, and I knew that in those days it would be very difficult to support 2 children if anything happened to my husband. And I just decided that I had to get a way to earn a living that would be pay enough to support 2 children. Remember two professors. I wonder if they've got any who are that good today. One of them was Dwight Oles, and the other was Newell Blakely. I'm sure you've heard those names from anybody in my generation. They were just so outstanding. I always say when I took the bar exam, one talked to me in one ear and one talked to me in the other, because it was just, they were just so outstanding. Being a female was not what mattered. I was never discriminated against. Believe it or not, in those days, I don't know how it happened, but even when I went on the bench, I never felt any discrimination because I was a woman. Actually, my career started before I graduated from law school because of one of the students that I had gone to class with and really didn't know him that well, but he called me when I came back from taking the bar at 8 o'clock in the morning and told me that he had set up an appointment with the gentleman he worked for at that time, and he just insisted that I come. Just insisted that I come talk to him because she said, I've already told him that you're going to be here, and he's in trial and he's going to come back for noon. So I had no alternative but to go. I was still in law school though. The meeting was with a gentleman called Fred Parks, who was one of the best known lawyers in town at that time. And it was quite a meeting. Well, first of all, he asked me if I could work 40 hours, and I said, no, I couldn't. Then he said 30 hours. I said, no, I couldn't, because you see, I still had a family and more hours to finish, because I took the bar at 73 hours, which you could do then. I don't know if you can today or not. And then he said, can you come at 20 hours? And I said, I don't know. So he said, I tell you what, as long as you can make a visible contribution to the office, I don't care when you come and I don't care when you go. So that was an offer I couldn't refuse. You have no idea how amazing it was in those days, because the women that I knew couldn't even get a job, couldn't even get an interview, let alone the job. It was Don Fullenwider, who was not one of my best friends in law school. It was just one of the fellows in the class. Well, I really didn't expect one, and I just thought I'd try it. Just about a year, yes, before I graduated. I don't know how I did it. I really don't. You know, we do what we have to do. We had a litigation practice, and it was on the plaintiff's side, and it was a very good practice, and I just did what had to be done. In fact, it was more unusual because no pleading was anything that I did had my name on it, and in those days, a woman's name never appeared, even when she did all the work. But Fred Parks never took credit for what I did. No, I had been, but that didn't mean anything. That was just as big a surprise to me as it was to anybody, anyway. I don't know how my name even got in the pot to be considered to be a woman. In those days, it just wasn't possible. I began in CDR number 5. No, never thought about it. Very much. Well, it was a lot easier for me because it wound up to be a 9-to-5 job, and the practice of law with a busy practice is anything but a 9-to-5 job. Parks was right when he started out, can you work full time, and then went to 40 hours because it's not a 40-hour job. I just enjoyed the practice. It was fascinating and not always easy, but always good. I just got a phone call from a lady who was very active in politics, and I think in Pasadena or something. I didn't know her, but I just knew the name. And she congratulated me for my new bench, and I didn't know anything about it. Hadn't heard. I never met Dolph Briscoe, the one who appointed me the second time. Never met the gentleman. Well, I just told her I'm sure she's wrong. So she said, "Oh no, sweetheart, I've just talked to Janie, and that was the governor's wife's name. I knew that much, and she told me. So she said, "I'll be at your swearing in." Well, it was different work, but it really didn't matter. It was really the same as far as procedure and things. No, because it was a 9-to-5 job for me, and that made a big difference in my life. At one of my afternoon breaks with the jury, this friend called and said that Justice Denton had died. I didn't know him. But anyway, I said, "I'm sorry." And so she said, "The governor's going to appoint someone. Called us and wanted to know who we suggested." And in those days, they used to call me and ask me about other people who were being considered for the bench. And I said, when she said, the governor was considering it, I said, "Really, who?" She said, "You." And then, because she knew that I had a husband who simply didn't want me to work and never got used to it. I told her, I said, you know my situation? She said, yes. So I said, well, I don't know what to tell you. She said, well, I've called my husband, and he said, well, just tell him yes, and we'll think about it tonight. So anyway, and when we came in the house that same evening, the phone was ringing. It was the governor's office. And they asked if I could be up there the next day, and I said I didn't know. I'd have to check the airlines. And my husband said, actually, they asked that my husband get on the telephone, another phone, which he did. So my husband said, we'll be there. So, and he meant he'd drive, so that's when he became supportive. When I went on the Supreme Court, he was very, very supportive. Picked me up every morning. Took me to the airport at 6 o'clock and picked me up when I came home. So he was very supportive from that point on. I tell you the truth, it was so fast, and I just was in shock, really, just in shock. That's all I can say. Well, I just did the job the best way I knew how, and I was just lucky. I was at the Supreme Court when it was not the best time to be there because, well, there are a lot of things I can't say now. So, but anyway, Judge Pope and Judge Greenhill were so wonderful to me that it made up for everything else. I just had to explain that my husband was not going to, I just knew he could not stand a statewide race. You see, I never had an opponent, and even locally, but a statewide race, I knew what was involved, and I knew I couldn't do it. No, I came back to the bench that I left and enjoyed it until I retired, about two and a half years before I retired. I think it's being in the right place at the right time. That's the only way I can describe it. You just do the best job you can wherever you are, and things just happen. I'm a perfect example of how things happen because I cannot explain it. I tell you, I've been very, very lucky, very lucky. The judges, when I went and practiced, were very, very good to me. I never felt any discrimination whatsoever. When I went on the bench, I didn't feel any discrimination, and I just charted up to luck. Fred Parks taught me everything I knew. Oh, yes, there is. He used to say that cases weren't won or lost in the courtroom. They were won or lost in the office, which is his way of saying prepare, prepare, prepare. And that's true. Made all the difference in the world. I would never have gone to work. If we're all very lucky, then I think in the next 75 years, without a doubt, because I know that in considering what schools are in the top 10 or the top of the list, it takes the building and used to be considered the library. Of course, I don't know what they do now, but those kind of elements. And today the university here has all those elements with the new building. I believe that clearly I don't believe I'm being optimistic or anything else, but I really believe we will be in the top 10 law schools in the country in 75 years. And if we're real lucky, even with the difference in the endowments which schools have, we might even make the top 5. Now that's kind of optimistic, but anyway, I believe it. I hope they can enjoy the education more than I did, but to enjoy it and to remember that they have a responsibility to their clients, whatever field they go into, and just always to do the best for the client and just always do their best. Well, the university has been very good to me, and so I do have a legacy. I had a friend who endowed a lectureship in my name, and I don't know. I just hope that I have a legacy that reflects my love of the law and my belief in the university. That helped me get it. I wish for the university, for their 75th anniversary, all the things that I believe will happen. And because I really believe this university has the ability now with the new building and all the new things that have happened to it to become one of the finest law schools in the country. I know that I had one of the finest educations in the country, because I had those professors, Dwight Oles and Newell Blakely.